And if you look at my Instagram, I don't post for days sometimes because I just can't mentally juggle all of that. Hey guys, we are back with our Q&A part 2, and this time we are filtering the comments so that we are definitely addressing the first comments that came through first, and then we're gonna work our way down until we get to all of them. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jerica.
And I'm Kale.
And on this channel, we talk all about our business. We talk about our products, how we make them, how we sell them. And today's Q&A is answering all of your questions to celebrate the fact that we now have over 40,000 subscribers. Thank you guys so much. So without further ado, let's dive into the questions. Oh, and before we begin, if you want to find the specific theme of your question, I have the chapters marked down below so you can jump around and get the information that's most relevant to you. So let's get started.
Part 2. Stephanie from Australia says, you guys are awesome. How long after making your first batch of soap did it take you to start selling them?
I actually checked my emails to see when I first ordered soap supplies from Candora Soap, because Candora Soap Supplies was the very first soap supply company that I ordered actual soap supplies from to make a batch of soap. And when I looked at my emails, my first order was made in early 2017. So it was around March 2017. And by October of 2017 was when I started to register a domain, create a brand, create a social media presence for my soap company, The Basket Soapery. So it was about 7 months.
3 to 10.
Yeah. So in between that time was a ton of testing. It was a lot of giving away free soap to my friends and family, and also trying out the soap for myself and falling in love with this craft and hobby of making soap. So for sure, you want time in there. You want to be testing everything out before you even think about creating a business out of it. Jex TG asks, how long before you launch a new product do you test? How do you create your own products? Do you start with the lotion, then change it and add ingredients? Do you take courses for that? So I don't take courses for anything. I'm 100% self-taught. When it comes to launching new product, I test for a long time. And I want to make sure not only does this stuff feel good, but is it good enough for it to sit on a shelf at a drugstore or a major retailer before I even sell it on my own. I want to make sure every product is as good as it can be, so that it can compete with its peers. So I would say, depending on the product, it can take between 2 to 5 months of me creating the formula, testing the formula, and making sure everything is as good as it can be before it's ready to be launched to the public. So when it comes to creating my own products, I learned the basics. I learned how to make a basic lotion. I learned how to make a basic soap first. I learned how to make a basic bath bomb. And from there, I tweak it so that I can improve it in some way. So for example, when I made my first batches of bath bombs, so if you hear rumbling, that's our puppy Gibson. He's playing. And it sounds really loud, but
I can go remove that toy.
No, it's okay. So for example, when I made my first batch of bath bombs, I started with Dean Wilson's recipe on YouTube, which I will link that down below. But that is a really good recipe. But one thing that I found with that recipe is that it was really soft. So from there, I researched what can make bath bombs soft, and I realized Epsom salts do that. Took them out. I still found that the bath bomb was still too soft, so I figured out what ingredient can I add to make it harder. Cream it harder. So I added that in. So you'll find with your research, you'll figure out what ingredients do what, and from there learn how to change a recipe incrementally to formulate your own unique spin on it. Because no matter how good a product is, there's always a way to tweak it so that you can make it your own or make it better. And that's actually how we approach our own products. We're always trying to make it better.
All right, this comes from Janine W. I just adore you guys. Are there any new products you plan to create and sell within the next 2 years? Thank you for sharing your passion and business with the YouTube community.
So for the next 2 years, I see ourselves doubling down on face skincare, and that will include things like serums, moisturizers, and face washes. That's at least where I would like to see the business going. But I think for the most part, soaps and bath bombs and lotions, that's going to be our main focus. I don't really see ourselves making anything new in the next couple of years, other than just developing our face skincare line, because that's a huge passion of mine. Is there anything, maybe a men's care line? Do you think we could be developing that maybe in the next couple of years?
That might be something that I could take on and research and develop, but we'll see. Alexis says, I've been binge watching your YouTube videos for the past month and I love watching it. I love watching it climb.
0.1000 each day.
This week, you guys are amazing and such an inspiration. Right now I'm just doing wax melts and my candles are coming out soon. But I would love to do soap one day. Thank you for everything that you guys have done. Keep being awesome. Also, other than COVID happening, what has been the biggest challenge that each of you has faced during the process with this business? Other than transition from 9-to-5 job, which I knew is a tough decision in general.
Biggest challenge for me has been the customer service aspect of it and dealing with the stress of shipping products out. I think that was my biggest challenge, because there's so little that you have control of once it leaves your house, but you're the only contact your customer can go to if something happens. So you feel really helpless and you want to help and you want to do something, but you can't. Your hands are tied, and that's been tough, having to navigate that and having to deal with those customer situations. And a lot of the lessons that we learned through shipping was because we had to ship it out and we encountered those problems. These were things that we could not have foreseen. It just sucks that we're learning about these issues because they're happening to us. Like, for example, shipping things out to the UK. So now there's this large duties that our customer has to pay in order for them to release the package. And things like that, where you realize certain couriers are better than others, and you find out because the packages that you send using that courier don't arrive looking very good. So yeah, that's been the biggest challenge for me, has been shipping, learning about it. There's not a lot of information when it comes to shipping out there, so we've had to learn a lot of that stuff by doing. Mickey, how do you keep track of your profit and loss from your sales? Do you use a book, an app of some sort? I'm trying to find the easiest way so that I can keep track of my stuff too.
Yeah, you can do a rudimentary P&L on Excel, which is kind of what you made versus what you spent. And that's what we were initially doing. When we started using an accountant, we got, under her advice, we started using QuickBooks, which allows you to be a lot more organized with your expenses. There are certain expenses that you can apply provincial sales tax here in Canada or federal sales tax that will allow you to kind of easier clean things up once it is time to do taxes. And that's just a more organized way of doing things for all the different expenses that we have. So QuickBooks is the way that you can kind of efficiently do profit and loss reports, and that's what we're using now. Melissa West asks, how do you foresee navigating the new corona way of doing business? Supply disruptions, handling cash, etc. The new way of life hasn't deterred me from handling cash. There's hand sanitizer on our table at all times for both the customer and for me. So I'm kind of sanitizing whenever a transaction takes place. Supply disruptions, that was a real thing definitely when everything first hit back in mid 2020. That has always been in the back of our mind when ordering supplies, so we make sure that we have about 6 weeks to 2 months supply, especially for shipping supplies. That's where we saw a lot of disruptions, and also for ingredients for the products that Jerica makes. All right, and this is from Oinura. She says, thank you for all your inspiring and educational videos. Can you please make a video about how to calculate shampoo bars, how to find how much each ingredient will consist, like cold process soap? Thanks in advance.
Yeah, so for the shampoo bars, I actually purchased a recipe from DIY Bath & Body on Etsy, and I'll link her shop down below. And it was from her base that I created my own recipe through tweaking it. So I can't say I know exactly how to calculate a shampoo bar recipe from scratch. I know that a good reference for that is a blog called the Swift Crafty Monkey blog. And I'll link that too down below. And her blog is full of amazing, useful information when it comes to formulating not only shampoo bars, but lotions, soap, all the types of skincare you can think of adding to your company. So I would definitely recommend heading over there if you really want to learn about each ingredient and how much or how little to use and what each ingredient does to the final product. Yaneska asks, which company do you purchase your fragrance oils from? I cannot find a company who has long-lasting fragrance oils. Thank you so much and congratulations. So for most of my videos, I do list soap suppliers. I live in Canada, so I buy a lot of my fragrance oils from New Directions Aromatics, Windy Point, Candora Soap Supplies. I'll have a list of them down in my description below so you can check them out. But when it comes to purchasing your fragrance oils, yes, get them from a reputable soap supplier, but also I would highly recommend that you check out the reviews for each fragrance oil, because that is where you'll see whether or not that particular fragrance oil is a good one or not. Good one meaning, is it long lasting? Is it strong? Does it make my soap seize up? All that kind of stuff. A lot of people will put in their review of how that fragrance oil behaved. So that's your first step if you are new to making soap, is to buy a fragrance oil that you see lots of really good reviews on. That's where I would start.
Vine and Branch Soap says, would you share how you make your soap tops? Do you let the batter thicken a little bit? Just a medium trace? How do you swirl it? They are so pretty. Would love to learn your technique. Thank you for all that you share.
Thank you for the compliments. Yeah, my soap tops are pretty distinct. I'm really proud of them, and it's something that I've been able to perfect over years and years of baking soap. And I would say that my technique for them is, yeah, you've hit the nail on the head. I let the batter thicken a bit, and it's really through experience of dealing with how quickly your soap batter gets harder. That's the secret in knowing when to sculpt them and make them look the way they do. I really like how my soap tops come out. They look like ice cream swirls. And yeah, you're right, they are a signature look. I'm really pleased that I have something that people see that soap and they're like, yep, that's a Quench soap, or that's a Jerica Zimmerman soap. So yeah, that's really the basis of it. It's just practice over time, trying it out, and then getting a sense for how quickly the batter is getting harder.
I specifically like your tops on the Georgian Bay because it looks just like a white
waves.
cap on top of the wave.
Yeah. Rosemary asks, for my lip balms, where to find out how to use a certain kind of oil for the lips? Or is there something like an extract you can use? So for my lip balms, I really liked using hemp seed oil in the lip balms because that is a really light oil that the body absorbs really easily, but at the same time leaves a really nice level of moisture. So I found that hemp seed oil in lip balms is a really good type of oil to use. Shea butter is also really good, but I removed that from my lip balm recipe because it was causing a graininess or bumps in my lip balm. So I switched that out with cocoa butter, and I really like using cocoa butter in my lip balms. I started out with many different lip balm formulas, and it was really a matter of adjusting each ingredient literally by grams, because a lip balm batch for me is tiny, and that'll make me 20 tubes of lip balm. So it was really incremental adjustments over a long period of time. And the final recipe that I have and provided to my viewers on my YouTube channel is honestly a really great recipe, and I'm really proud about that. But when it comes to finding out which oils to use, a good start would be going to a website like Humble Bee and Me. She is an awesome resource for figuring out which oils to use in a lip balm recipe, for even any type of product recipe. Actually, I really like her way of teaching, so I would check out her blog. I'll link her stuff down in my description box below. Shani asks, how many grams of fragrance oil do you use in soap? Do you add superfat, or does the soap calc automatically adjust? How much kaolin clay? Will you upgrade to a multi-soap cutter? Does your home smell strongly? I smelled fragrance oil and my house smelled funny for weeks, and not in a good way. So there was a lot of questions there, so let's address each one. So the first one was, how many grams of fragrance oil do you use in your soap? So this will depend on the fragrance oil that I use. So if you buy fragrance oil from a soap supplier, they should have a safe usage range that they recommend for that fragrance oil in soap, bath bombs, candles, because it'll actually be different depending on the fragrance oil. So my first step would be to reference that product listing and know for sure how much is the safe usage I can use. And I tend to go to the highest point of usage when it comes to soap, up to 5%. Anything beyond that is excessive in my opinion, but if it goes up to 5%, I will do that. But I pay attention to each fragrance oil. There are some like pumpkin spice fragrance oils where it's very tiny, like a 0.2% amount is what you're allowed to use in soap. So it changes depending on the fragrance oil, and it will also change depending on the essential oil as well. Do I add superfat or does the soap calc automatically adjust? I add the superfat, and I use between 5% to 7% of superfat in my soaps. How much kaolin clay? I like to use a teaspoon per pound of soap, and I know you can go up to a tablespoon, but I tend to just keep it at teaspoon. Will you upgrade to a multi-soap cutter? I think so. I think that's in the cards for us someday. Actually, my current soap cutter, I've been using it for 3 years now. Has it been 3 years? And it's starting to go on me a bit. The wood is starting to fall apart, and the screws to adjust the platform it's not as it once was. So it's something that I'm definitely going to be doing in the next couple months. We definitely should do that.
Oh yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, I think for my next model, I'm gonna go with metal and plastic and avoid wood altogether because of the fact that I clean it all the time and it gets wet. Moisture and wood together isn't great. So I definitely want to get something more durable that's gonna last me a lot longer. And a multi-soap cutter, I think, is the way to go. It saves you so much more time. Does your house smell strongly?
People say our house smells good when they
Yeah,
come in.
it smells strongly, but in a good way. It's not in a bad way. We've never spilled fragrance oil though in our house, so maybe that's why it's not overwhelming or bad. But we have pets too, so we make sure that we don't have product lying around and smelling up our entire home. A lot of our product is either in the basement downstairs or in our second bedroom upstairs. Unless we're packaging things for wholesale orders or regular orders or getting ready for a farmer's market, we normally don't have product just sitting out, smelling up our home. Brunetta asks, how do you prevent DOS, or have you ever had them? You want to, first of all, avoid or use very little of certain oils that are known to cause DOS. I know that canola oil is known to do that. Actually, even hemp seed oil is also known to do that. Any oil that has a very high linoleic value, any oil like that, it will have a tendency to create DOS in your soaps. So like I mentioned, hemp seed oil and canola oil, either avoid them or keep the number small in your soap formula. And another thing that I have found that causes DOS is exposure to the sun and exposure to humidity. So once you create your soap, make sure that after you cut it, it's away in a spot that is not touched by sun and is not getting exposure to very humid conditions, because that will cause DOS as well. And the last thing that causes DOS is having your soaps resting on metal, because there are elements in the metal which may cause your soap to discolor and get those DOS spots. Oh, and DOS, by the way, stands for dreaded orange spots.
And that also reminds me, I don't hear the dehumidifier going upstairs, so I'm gonna go check that.
Okay. Lynn asks, if you make a lye-heavy soap, is there a way of correcting it? Yes, there actually is. There are a lot of really good articles available online on how to actually do that. And one article that I actually referenced when I did this myself was Soap Queen TV's article, which I will link down below. But basically what you would do is shred your soap up until it's really, really fine, and then you would melt it down in a crock pot and then add distilled water to that batch until you make a more balanced soap.
All right.
Anjali
It says, hi Jerica, congratulations from India. I watch every video of yours. Your business start
An overall business journey
is inspiring. It's soap related question. Do you test fragrance behavior in small batch before you make a big batch of cold processed soap?
No. I guess through my experience over the years, because I've made so much soap, I don't make a test batch anymore. I just kind of go with it, and I can see how quickly soap is coming to trace from the fragrance oil, and then it will affect my designs decisions moving forward. So what I do when it comes to making soap is I use a little bit of that fragrance oil for a certain part of the soap. And if it's coming to trace really fast, then I have time to decide what to do with it, and I'll make a layered soap. But if it's a little bit more fluid, then I'll make a more swirly soap. So I kind of work with the fragrance just from judging how quickly it's making the soap batter come to trace, and I'm flexible and I work with it. But there have been times recently where the soap batter has seized on me, and I've had to rebatch that soap, and it becomes a soap that we use at home for ourselves and not a soap that I sell.
Like, it's like a specific recipe question.
Okay. Use soap calculator and use rice bran oil instead of olive oil, and sesame oil instead of hemp seed oil. But my soap thickens so fast before I add anything. What can be the reason? You have made a few substitutions there, and the unfortunate thing about substituting oils and butters and fats when it comes to soap recipes is that it can totally change how a soap reacts to fragrance oils. Because it's so different from mine, I don't know exactly why it's acting the way it is, and I'm sorry, I don't have an answer for you.
You've never done this combination yourself, so you wouldn't be able to give a absolutely correct answer as to why it's behaving this way.
Yes.
Next question is from Jenny Gibson. That's a good name.
We're big fans of the name Gibson around here.
And she asked, do you ever make soaps with coconut milk or goat's milk? Mm-hmm. How about soaps made with beer? Have you used honey or cocoa powder or other additives? We'll start there.
No, I have never used coconut milk or goat's milk or beer or honey. Cocoa powder, yes. And I've definitely used other additives. I've used spirulina powder, I've used alkanet root powder, I've used colloidal oatmeal. But in terms of the other ingredients, coconut milk, goat's milk, I want to use those ingredients. And I think I will try to make soaps in the future using definitely coconut milk. Goat's milk might be further down the line because I am a vegan brand and we don't use animal milks or animal byproducts in our products, but it's something that I want to experiment with still. Even if it's just for a YouTube video to show you guys what I can make with it. That's something that I'm very open to. Beer soaps and honey soaps, yes. Honey is the same thing as goat's milk, where it's an animal byproduct, and that's why I haven't done it yet, but I definitely do want to do that in the future, just for the purposes of a YouTube video to show you guys how to use it, because I think those ingredients are really nice in soap. Yep.
And then how about round soaps?
I haven't done round soaps. I'm not a fan of them. I like my soaps to have straight sides.
Yep. Mom of twins. I was gonna say Momo FT wins.
Oh gosh, that's complicated.
Mom of twins 95 says, can you add a link to purchase your soap slicer?
Can I?
No,
I
we
can't,
actually can't.
yeah.
I got this thing for Jerica a long time ago, a long time ago, before we were at the point that we are, and I don't know where it is. I've gone through my emails because I don't know. I have no source for it, so
yeah.
It's not some secret I'm trying to hide. I have no trace of the correspondence of where
Quebec.
it came from. So it was in Quebec. That's all I remember.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cole Younger asks, has anyone commented on your bath bombs being shrink wrapped? A person told me in my initial research that they hated to peel shrink wrap off a bath bomb. They didn't like the fight with it. This is one person's opinion of many, but shrink wrap just looks the cleanest and seems like it would be the best for display storage options. We are just getting started and just got our first big order, 60 bath bombs. Woo! Yay,
Nice.
Congrats, Cole.
Nice.
No, I don't think I've ever heard of anyone commenting on my shrink wrapped bath bombs. Do you?
No.
A thing you have to think about is the overall customer experience. So you have to give and take a little bit. Yes, it'll be harder for your customer to open it, but also it will arrive safely in one piece to your customer because of the shrink wrap. And I found that, yeah, you have to be constantly prioritizing one aspect of your product over another in order to deliver the overall good customer experience. For the most part, most people don't mind the fight that comes with a shrink wrapped bath bomb, and most appreciate getting their bath bomb to their homes in one piece. Shandy asks, what's your favorite soap in our shop? My favorite is the French lavender soap. I love it so much. I love lavender. It's just like my favorite scent. It's so fresh and so clean, and the soap itself is just gorgeous. I love it.
My answer changes from month to month or season to season, but right now I really like the Muskoka Woods. It's our own blend. We use some pine essential oil in it, and that's what really comes out to me the most in that blend.
It's a very woodsy scent, but there's also some vanilla to it too, so it's like a warm woodsy scent.
But I think when somebody asked me that question a few months ago, I said orange patchouli because I really like that one too. So
mine has always been French lavender.
Okay, Bombing with Beauty asks, can you please make more bath bomb videos?
Yes, I will. Don't worry about
Good
that.
answer.
And they also ask.
They also ask down here, what are the different types of preservatives?
Okay, so there's a few out there. I stick with the broad spectrum ones, so Optifin Plus, Liquid Germol Plus. Those are the two I've used, and they have served me really well. And each one has a different property, so some of them are, I think all of them are heat sensitive actually, but some you can use at higher temperatures and some lower. So depending on the product, some are more suited to one type of product over another. But all of these details will be listed in a product listing when you go and purchase that preservative. So do your research and make sure that you are picking the right preservative for the product and you're using it properly so that it's actually effective in doing its job, which is preventing your product from growing moldy and protecting it from bacteria.
And our next question comes from my favorite question asker of this session, my mother, from Sherry Zimmerman. She asks, what do you do for self-care? A chance to get away and rejuvenate your creativity for fun.
So what we like to do is preserve Thursday and Friday as our weekend days, and on those days we either go fishing, we go...
Insert fishing photos here, down here.
We go
from
fishing. We have a boat now that we have named the Kraken, and we take that out as often as possible. Like every chance we get, we take it out. And it's like a 16 foot long?
A little 14 foot.
14 foot long.
A little 15 horsepower
aluminum
two-stroke
boat. Yeah, it's not the most fanciest of boats, but it does the trick, and we take it out and explore the Georgian Bay area where we live. Our town sits right on the bay. We can see the water, and it's literally 2 minutes from our house.
Yep.
So that's
I've
what
gotten
we do.
good at backing that thing into the boat launch and learning how to operate a vehicle with a trailer and everything.
Yeah.
So I'm more and more comfortable launching that thing at the twilight dusk hours now when the fishing is better versus going in the middle of the day. So that's good. We got bikes this summer.
We got bikes.
Jerica, we actually just got one for Jerica that a neighbor's mom found on the side of the road. So that's getting fixed up. So we'll be able to go biking together.
Soon,
Yep. I mean, we don't have kids, but we spend a lot of times with our dog, so we take him around, and he's learning how to swim and everything, like we mentioned. So
here's some footage of him swimming right here.
And
so
just going around seeing the town, supporting the local restaurants in the town as well.
So we fit in date nights, and we are so excited that a new Mexican restaurant has opened in our town, and that's a big deal because our town does not have a lot of variety, different types of cuisine.
cuisines.
So when they opened up a Mexican restaurant, we were very excited, and when we actually sat and ate, we were even more impressed. Here are some pictures of our meals right here.
And then, of course, to rejuvenate and add to creativity, we FaceTime with Mom. Love you, Mom. This one is from Ashley Gainey. She says, in the beginning, how did you guys find and balance time between your regular 9-to-5 and working on the business? Thank you so much for your videos and inspired me to create my own business and have taught me so much. Heart. For me, the balance was, there wasn't really a lot of balance. It was go to work, come home, and work on the side business at the time. And so that, it just seems like that was a lot of whatever recreation time I had was now going to the business, and it was getting busier and busier and busier. It got to the point where the side business was now going to become the main thing for us. So from my perspective, because I was still working at a physical place at that time. For Jerica's experience, it might be a little bit different.
Well, actually, it's not that different. On the same note, I could only fit in my soap business in on my free time that I'm not working on my 9-to-5. So it was basically me being busy all the time doing both, and it wasn't a very good balance. And yeah, for those wanting to do this full time, the bad news is you're going to be at a point where you're going to be stressed out in both, because I wouldn't recommend quitting a 9 to 5 before your soap business is self-sustainable and making you real money. That's just how it's going to be. You're going to have to be working really, really hard before you come to that breaking point. I'd rather play it safe and keep the 9 to 5 while trying my best at the soap business before leaving the 9 to 5 to go full into the soap business before the soap business is actually making me any profits. So that's the bad news. You're going to have to juggle both for a while, and it's not going to be pleasant, and you're going to be not putting your 100% into either for a short period of time. Brian and Daniel ask, personal question, how do you guys deal with the balance of family time and business time? This is, it's tough.
We're working on it.
We are working on it every
still
day.
Working on it, yeah.
What we've decided to do is pick certain days like Thursday and Friday. Because we're at markets Saturday and Sunday, Thursday and Friday is our new weekend that we try our best to do something special on those days. We either fit in a date night, or we head out and take a hike somewhere or visit a new town, but we
go fishing, take the boat out and go fishing.
We carve out that time and we prioritize that time, because we found that if we work too hard, it takes a huge toll on our mental health, and it's a real thing. You can get burnout, you can feel awful, you can feel overwhelmed, and it's something that, since we've been doing that, has been helping us a lot. So when it comes to balancing family time and business time, fit in that family time and you prioritize it. You can't be all about the business. Have a cutoff time. So at 5 p.m. or 6 p.m. for the rest of the evening, we're not doing anything, or pick a day or days like we do where we don't focus on the business and we prioritize hobby or playtime. What I found is I can't physically do my business, run it, the YouTube, and social media all at the same time. So the thing that I do is prioritize those 3 things, and the thing that falls off is the social media part of it. And if you look at my Instagram, I don't post for days sometimes because I just can't mentally juggle all of that. And that's something that will get better with time as I build a team and I have more people that I can pass things off to. But in the beginning, give yourself some grace, understand that you can't do it all, and if you try to do it all, you will burn out and it will be not good.
So Diana asks, what is your daily work routine? Do you have specific days for specific products to get done? Do you have a huge inventory of soaps? Since soaps have to be cured at least 4 to 6 weeks, how many molds do you do in a week?
So for the first question, what my daily work routine looks like is I get out of bed and Kayla and I have a really quick morning meeting where we both talk about what's the priority for the day. And it's through that meeting that we get to organize what we're doing and communicate to one another what needs to get done. So once we have that meeting, then we're both off doing what we need to do. So for Kale, it's normally packaging the orders and organizing that side of things, and also answering emails, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Is there anything else that you do for your daily work routine?
Wrapping products too, for orders, but also
finishing the
kind of having my eye on the weekend and knowing that if I'm wrapping some bath bombs for an order, I can continue wrapping the rest of those and put those aside for the upcoming weekend to sell at the farmers markets.
Yeah, so labeling products as well.
Yep, wrapping, labeling. And then that I'm usually doing that in the morning. Afternoon is running around town, dropping those parcels that are now ready for delivery, dropping off local orders that people have ordered, and I communicate whether they're going to be picking up here at the house or if we're going to be taking to them.
My daily routine, it's whatever product that I need, and what I do when it comes to product making, I prioritize the retail orders because those are the orders that need to get out first. And whatever leftover time I have, I fit the wholesale orders in. And then once that is done, then we do the overflow, which is just extra product. So yeah, the inventory of soaps, it's stocking that up, because you're right, they do need 4 to 6 weeks cure. And because of that, we do have a large inventory of soaps that we have to set aside and keep track of, so that we know that they're the best bar that they can be once they leave our house. So it's a lot of production. Unless it's a video day where I'm posting a video, then the first half of the day is me editing that video. Yeah, there's certain days where it looks a little different, but
different days all by themselves, because that takes up most of Jerica's day when she's doing editing. So.
Yeah. So when it comes to a video day, I'll wake up, we'll have our morning meeting, I'll tell Kale the whole morning I'm going to be editing a video, so that's what I'm going to be doing. And so I sit down and edit that video. And once it's posted, I'm normally so tired from that, I think I take a nap. And actually, I often am also making product after dinner too in the evening. I really like making soap at night.
That's what I was,
Yes, it's not a structured schedule. It's just what needs to get done. If we have more time, let's do extra stuff that doesn't actually have to be done, but we know has to be done eventually. So in terms of how many loaves of soap that I actually produce and make in a week, it's about 4 batches in 3 days of a week. So that's around 12, right? 12 loaves of soap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. And so Jack says, for soap, because it takes time to cure, at what point do you make more? Do you wait until a certain percentage of your stock is sold, or do you have set dates to make the stock?
So for soap, yes, we do wait until a certain percentage is sold. Yes. If you have really good inventory software, that will help you track stuff and it will alert you. For example, Crafty Base, which is something that I'm playing around with now and falling in love with as I'm doing that. If you use something like that, that is a good way to track whether or not you need more. And for us, it's normally 50% of our stock is gone, then we add more. So for us, we like to have a stock of around 40 of each bar. So when it gets down to 20, that's when we make another loaf. And of course, because we have so many different types of products and there's only 2 of us, we can't always get to that. And when we do slip below that, that's when we put soaps as sold out, because we don't want to sell soaps that aren't cured yet.
Allison Davis says, we have so many ideas for new products such as candles, bath bombs, lotions, etc., but we are trying to figure out the best way and time to release them. Do you think there is a sweet spot when launching and releasing new products to your lineup? We don't want to do it quickly and overwhelm our customers, but we don't want to wait too long either. Thank you. Love your videos and congrats on 40,000.
So this will depend on how many sales you're doing. Because if you're first starting out and you're not making a lot of sales, then you definitely don't want to be launching new products too quickly. But if you have a solid customer base, then you'll find that launching things on a monthly or seasonal basis will do really good things for your customer base, because they're going to be wanting to buy for you more and more. Unfortunately, when you're first starting out, you don't have that proven track record of core products that your customers are regularly buying from. So I would say to start off, just work on your core line and heavily promote that instead of launching things all the time and quickly. When we first started out, we had our core products that we had all the time, and whenever we had something new, it would be 1 new product maybe a month, and if it came to seasonal products, we would release those at the start of each season. So we definitely didn't do too many. We just worked on building a core customer base with the products that we had, with scents that had them coming back for more for that same scent, so that when we released something new and special, they were really eager to try that new type of scent because they already loved what we were offering. Joanna says, congratulations. As soap needs to be cured, how do you plan, store, calculate your inventory in busy times as Christmas? We're in that mode right now where we see Christmas coming up and we are in full production mode. That's something that you have to start planning for months in advance, because you'll find that certain seasonal scents are starting to become out of stock now. And that's because most soap makers are already building their Christmas fall stocks as we speak right now. So what we do is we plan our line, what we're going to do, and schedule it in, and then we produce. And for Christmas, we're usually producing right now in August. And in terms of storage, there are many things that you can do. You can store them in boxes, you can store them in what I use is an IKEA. It's a component that would go inside of a walk-in closet or a bigger closet or a wardrobe, where you can pull out the the drawers. That's the system that I use. IKEA is a good resource to figure out how to store things in ways that it's not at your feet, and you can put them up high on the walls or put them on shelves. Yeah.
All right, so this is from India, and we may have answered this. I don't think so, though.
Yeah, we're not sure.
So we're going to do it anyways.
Let's do it again.
India says, love you guys to pieces. Jerica, you've inspired me so much in my business. What would be your advice for someone revamping their business and strategies for marketing to her more customers, clients? Oh yeah, and I have a YouTube channel that I would like to utilize as well. Just so dang nervous. Thank you guys so much.
Yeah, so we did this in our own business too, where we rebranded, revamped everything to pivot and to go into a different direction. So I definitely know what this is like. And the only advice I would give to that is make sure that you are doing it for a good reason, and you've honed in more so on the type of customer that you want and also on your brand. Because what you don't want to do is to continue changing things over and over again. You want each move to be well thought out, to be strategic, for there to be a point, and for you to have a plan behind it. So for us, we had our first brand, and it was all over the place, and we didn't know what we were doing. By the time we revamped, we had a better idea of the customer we wanted to target. I had a really clear idea about the branding that I wanted to have for my products and packaging. I just had a better idea of what I wanted to do and where I wanted the business to go. So I would really advise anyone thinking about changing their brand to do it with a purpose and do it with a bang, and make sure that you understand why you're doing what you're doing. And when it comes to creating a YouTube channel, I recommend anybody with a business do this, because you want to be in as many places as possible. However, when it comes to a YouTube channel, one thing that I really recommend is to put you in it, as much of yourself into that channel. You want to make sure that you stand out, that the channel reflects you as a person, and that you're not copying other channels out there. There are a million ways to do it, and there are certainly different ways that you put your own flavor onto things. And once you find your own voice, your own editing style, your own products, then you'll find that your numbers will grow organically and so much faster, because there's nobody on YouTube like you.
So Martha Lawson asks, was wondering, how does one do a business name change?
I would say you would do a business change after a lot of thought, and there's a reason behind it. So the reason why I say that is because you don't want to get into the habit of changing your business name all the time. If you are thinking about doing it and it's been a while and you know for sure you want to do it and you have a really good name, then just do it. I had a following of over 1,000 people on my old business name Instagram, and I just left it behind and I started brand new. It's a lot of work to rebrand everything, so that's another reason why I would say think long and hard about it. But when you do things the next go around, make sure you have a target customer in mind, and you have a strategy in place, and you have a plan, because those are the things that will make your rebrand or your new business name be a success.
Bertos Kruger asks, hi Jerica, you are so very pretty. May I ask your ethnicity? I'm Indian, by the way. Love from Pretoria.
I am Filipino. I am 100% Filipino.
Holly Gifford asks, non-business related, but do you speak French?
I speak a little bit of French. I know survival French from my years of doing French immersion. I did that from grades 4 to, I think, 11. Yeah, I did French immersion for a while, and I didn't like it. I wasn't very good at it. Even though I was immersed in French, I never fully understood the language. So it's something that hasn't stuck with me. I don't remember a lot of it, but I can still pick it up here and there. If there's French in a movie, I'll understand what they're saying for the most part.
I think you're really good at understanding French.
Yeah. And I'll know random words here and there, but I can't have a conversation with a French person, nor can I sit and listen to French randomly and know exactly what they're talking about. I'll know bits and pieces.
Living in a country where there's very little French speaking going on, I do not speak French.
Yeah.
I picked up words here and there from driving on signs and labels, but very minuscule compared to what Jerica understands. I can speak and understand more Spanish than I can French.
Yep. So that is it. We addressed all of the questions. Thank you so much for submitting your questions, submitting your comments. We are so thankful for everyone who took the time to do that. Thank you guys. Maybe the next Q&A will be when we hit 80,000 subscribers. Because we've been doing them, I did one I think at 10,000, I did one at 20, and now we did one at 40. So the next one has to be doubling up on the subscribers before we do this.
Doubling it up. So.
Yeah, so who knows when that will be, maybe in a couple of years, we'll see. But yeah, our YouTube journey has been crazy. And that's why I encourage everyone to do this, because none of this would have been here if I had chosen not to start recording things regularly. And I'm really glad that I've gotten to know so many people through this YouTube channel, and I've been able to inspire so many people. You guys are awesome. And I also want to take this time to thank all of my patrons that have met me through my YouTube channel. You guys are so generous and amazing, especially these guys, my Bubble BFFs. And if you want to check out their businesses, you can click their business links down below. That community has been amazing as well. And that's just all been through this YouTube channel. You guys are just so supportive of us and want to see us succeed, so we appreciate each and every one of you. So until the next video, guys, keep smiling, keep being awesome, keep making beautiful things, and be kind to one another. And we will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye.